Alright guys, ICC Cup Fitz back here for replay of the week. Game number 4 of April 25th or 26th. March 25th or 26th, excuse me, till April 1st or April Fool's Day of 2012. So, without further ado, we have rUin's S.Love or S.Love rUin's is going to be our Teal Protoss player spawning in the top right in Fighting Spirit. There's a GG and good luck. And spawning in the bottom right, we have By.Hydra, the White Terran. Oddly enough, he's off-racing. He normally plays as Zerg. His APM is averaging 293 and maxing at 455, which is really freaking ridiculous. And we have S.Love. I'm just going to call him S.Love. He's going to be averaging 309 and maxing at 433. So we have pretty high level players here. I'm not sure if this is the actual By.Hydra because he is off-racing, if that is the case. But nevertheless, I believe this was tagged Gosu, so I'm just going to go with it. That's one problem we faced with the Brood War things, because everyone can kind of just say that the pro. I don't know the origin of the replay, so we're just going to have to go by that. So while this game is going underway, I hope you guys enjoy my new mic settings. Hopefully it's a little bit better as I'm not crackling as much. I've decreased my volume by 60% because I'm yelling so much. Not because my mic's bad, it's just I'm a really, really loud kind of guy. Interesting positioning of the pylon, actually. I like that. But we'll see what they're doing because I'm not going to, guess and guess and guess. But I just want to know, though, it is Fighting Spirit, which means you have a pretty big main. And since if you watched the last game, I'll just quickly recap. Your main is on the high ground. You have a lot of space to build whatever you'd like. Your natural is pretty big, and your third is on the high ground by going off to one little ramp. So people will tend to wall this off. But to note, as this is spawns at the same game, I'm just going to reiterate from last game. Protoss is probably in a disadvantage if this goes into a macro game, just because his third is going to be more susceptible because you never want to expand to your opponent, so you expand away. So he's going to be taking this base, which is more susceptible to run bys and etc. because he's going to have to wall off both. So it's going to be harder for him to play defensive, and especially since it'll be harder for him. Now, if By.Hydra is going to be playing defensive and he's a very, very strong Terran, I don't know. And if he's a strong Terran, he might be able to he'll have an easier time playing a 3-base Terran, which is sometimes not a bad thing, especially if the Protoss is not going to be super active, aggressively taking expands. To put that note, standard schmanzy from the Protoss. Earlier Cybercore than what I'm used to. You tend to see a second gateway before you see Cybercore, a little different. At least from last game. Going to be doing a little pressure with the Zealot here. He's not really going to have much to deal with this. He's going to have to pull some SCVs to deal with this. But he's really going to have to micro pretty hard to deal with this little pressure here. I know I could never deal with this because I'd always lose my Marines. But being pretty good with it. Even By.Hydra's having a little bit of trouble and being I don't know being known for being micro intensive, but being known for being a pretty solidly strong player here and only lost one Marine. And, yeah, this will just get a nice little scout on to see if he's going to be going for more mech play. He did see a fast expand. I wouldn't be surprised to see a bunker going down, which he is. However, this is kind of different because he's doing a 1-gate pressure into the Dragoon. I don't see range yet. His macro is a little bit slipping, but which is the only reason why I say that is just because the tech is delayed, which plays kind of a big role in the early stages of the game. That's the only reason why I mention it, but otherwise, I'm not really going to mention up their macro at all. It looks like he was able to deal with this pretty effectively, and will he have his bunker up? He will not. If he can just get this bunker ready, will this go down? Oh, being pretty ghosted with that one little Zealot. 3 kills on that little guy, and almost dead, but not quite. What are these shields up? Has to be, pretty pesky with that. Not expanding right now either. What's his name? S.Love is not expanding. He just put down something that he just canceled instantaneously, so I could not click on what it was. And even a Dragoon fell from just SCVs. I'm surprised by that, by the lack of control from S.Love right here. Now, other than these games being super ridiculously awesome to watch, we do have other casters. It was hard for me to get off some information because I didn't want to interrupt Box in the middle of the game being bored with all the ICC Cup details. He might lose an SCV here, which could be pretty... nope. He doesn't lose that. And it looks like Protoss is going to look to expand. But anyway, so it seems like we've gotten a lot of our admins back, so we're getting a lot more tours going, tournaments, tours, whatever. They seem to call them tours on ICC. I still call them tournaments or tourneys. And it looks like he might even be going for more some bio here as he's getting a... No, maybe that's probably just for the not Orbital Command, the Comsat station on the Command Center. So anyway, so it looks like we're getting more tournaments going. We're getting more news posted. So we're getting a little bit more active, which is helpful because now we have more casters, which means we can get more content out, which means you don't have to watch T-Rank Team League all the time. You can watch some of the Amateur Star League, which seems pretty cool. I put my name in there, or ICC Cup TV as the option for it. Yeah, it looks like Protoss is looking to actually put some pressure on here. And I don't know, I'm just surprised he's not attacking just because he just wastes that more minerals. And I just think, I believe, now I could be wrong, because I know I'm just taking this from StarCraft 2. At this high level of play, anything that you lose is kind of a big deal. So if you're forcing a, let's be careful, I don't want to lose that. If you could force, like, more minerals to be spent, then why not? Oh, but he doesn't have range, that's why. At least I don't think he does. No, he has range. Ooh, we almost got off guard by losing that. Just have to be a little careful. Oh, he has to cancel the eBay, or that might have just been destroyed. And will this go down? It will not. He just has to wait for Siege Tech to come out. And if you're wondering what this build is, he did a 1-Rax expand. Oh, it did fall! That's going to be pretty tough for him to deal with. I don't know what... Oh, but he does have Siege Mode up. As long as he can... it looks like he's going to have to push back here. Not going to be able to do too much. Oh, that's going to have 6 HP. So, if you're wondering what he was doing, as I know this build, as I've done it before against Protoss, I normally die by this time in the game. But... so you go a 1-Rax expand, then you put a bunker down. You can continue to repair it. He didn't repair it all the way. You would probably get even at that point 4 SCVs. You wait for siege mode to be completed, and then you just start chilling away, and then they can't do anything about it. And then that's up to you what you really want to do after that. I tend to die before that happens, so I never got that far. And there's your third at that location, like I was talking about earlier. Tends to be that. Fighting Spirit has its like kind of own way to how it works out. Nice little concave just to see, and no sneak attacks are going to be happening, getting map control. But he will be seeing the Vultures coming up here, and he should be well prepared for this. He does have a Dragoon in position, which will make sure that they can't get through. And Dragoon versus Vulture, Dragoon tends to win. Unless, oh, it looks like this push is going to be happening like we had last game. It's going to be a little bit more delayed this time, though, but this push is a bit bigger. 3 tanks. He wants to be careful not to lose any of these tanks. And I'll be interested how what's his name? S.Love is going to be able to deal with it. It looks like he's going to be able to deal with this just fine. Does he have siege mode completed yet? He does. So, oh, did he actually cancel this expand? I'm surprised. I don't know what happened. Looks like he's going to want to wall that off first, just to make sure nothing can get in his way. So like I was saying, it's going to be harder for him to take the expand. As you can see, he doesn't have to worry about walling this off. All he has to worry is about keeping this location secure, which might be which can either be 3 depots, could be a bunker if he wants to supply with a bunker if he wishes. Yeah, so getting robotics facilities up for, I don't know why observers, I shouldn't say that. I knew the answer right when I said that. It's to spot the spider mine so he doesn't die, so the range dragoons can do some damage to that. Upgrade front seems to be non-existent for the Protoss at this time. Not the best upgrades I've seen, but if he's going for a more aggressive style and he's macroing, efficiently, if that's like the minimal way of describing how good he is at it, or both players, I should say, especially off of 3 base. Interesting enough, Starport probably going to be getting some the science vessels into the mix so he can EMP the High Templar, which he's probably going to be getting after the Citadel of Adun finishes. So he wouldn't be surprised to see a Templar Archive coming down. for that Storm because it's pretty good against things. It just softens them up more. Anything Protoss tends to go for more of a Storm oriented in pretty much all their armies because it just does so much DPS in general. And it looks like he's going to be going for this kind of wall off thing. No, the upgrades are starting +1. Being a little bit more delayed. I'm not sure if that's a tight wall off. It might look like it is. And again, just cannons all around just to make sure that Vulture run-bys don't do too much damage. He does have 94 supply to 81, so he's actually doing fairly well. So it's going to be two depots, excuse me, can wall that off. And that should be a tight wall off. Yeah, I think if By.Hydra is going to have a really good control of his army, because again, he's off racing, but he's a pro player, so I wouldn't be surprised that he's like at least like an A-rank person, as is Terran. I don't know why he's playing Terran in this game. Or this guy's just goes through by himself and he's named By.Hydra. But Protoss needs to take more expands. You can't 3-base a Terran. It just doesn't tend to work out like that because you can't resupply your army. Because Terran mech army is gonna beat a Protoss army. Just as like a general rule, it tends to be if you have a 200 mech army, and they're both good control, mech army is gonna win most of the time. Then again, it comes down to the micro at that point. But if both players are good. And around the same skill level, mech will probably most likely win that at the end of the day with one army. If you could resupply, if you have 5 bases of Protoss, you can have that like 12 more gateways up, and which means you can remax really quickly, which means you can do more damage, which means mech army dies. Mech army is kind of like the boss stage. I feel like it's like really hard to kill, but it doesn't come back fast. It's like a regenerating health boss. Like if you leave it alone for half an hour in a good RPG, it's not gonna remax its HP. So if you're playing a good RPG, it'll regen health, but not at the rate that's ridiculous and you can't kill it. That's kind of like it's like a slow regeneration of the mech army because they can't build. You can't see if you can just. I'm just trying to point out. Oh, that's not tight wall off either. But this should fall pretty quickly, and you might gonna be getting a couple probe kills. Probably not the most cost-effective trade, but like I was saying, if you see here, you're seeing a whole bunch of factories, which means he's gonna have a big amount of Goliaths and Vultures. The reason for this is because by rule that Varial has said to me now, again, it seems to be pretty legitimized in a lot of games I've seen, not just because he said it. Tends to be you get 3 for every base you have. You get a machine shop. Here he only has 2, but mech army is really hard to deal with because of the tanks in the back, because they shell out so much damage. But if you can see here, he's only able to pump out 2 tanks at a time, versus he can pump out 1,000 vultures for the spider mines. So if you could kill off these tanks, it takes, I think, like what, 45 seconds to do a wave of tanks. So if he only can produce 3 tanks at a time, and you can produce, your 20 Dragoons at a time versus that, you're going to be able to win. You just have to be able to break this line first. 160 supply for the Protoss versus 137 for the Terran. Sorry about me going on a little. I'm just trying to help explain things, or maybe I'm trying to sound smarter than I am. But it's just kind of, and we might have a Reaver. Oh, we're going to have a DT drop here, and there's not a, oh, if you could get it on the double upgrades, that would be fantastic, but it doesn't look like he's going to go for that, sadly. But he will kill off this, potentially. Will he get the scan off in time, though? DTs do a lot of damage, +1 is done. Is he getting double upgrades? He is. He also will be taking an expand down here with a couple of defensive Dragoons, and he's even, I was going to say, if he took the center base, I remember in one of my earlier casts, I was just going apeshit because I was like, where? No one took the base here, and I was somewhat disappointed. But I've yet to see a game on Fighting Spirit where this has been a legitimate base, and it's been pretty awesome. I've yet to see that. I hope a game sometime in the future will have that happen, but I don't think realistically that's going to happen. This is an amazing amount of factories here, and yeah, I mean, you're gonna have a much heavier mineral income than you're gonna have a gas income. when you're like this, because especially when you're saturating your bases this heavily on the mineral patches, you're going to have a lot more minerals, which means Goliath and Vultures are going to be the main unit composition. Not saying tanks. I mean, this is not a small amount of tanks by any means, but these guys are going to be doing 75 damage. But Protoss is looking pretty strong here. He does have 4 bases. Terran is also taking a weird... I thought that looks further away, but it looks like an engagement's going to be happening over here. He has to be careful, though. He doesn't want to run into that siegeling. This would be the time to engage. Looks like he might be getting his zealots in position for it. Tanks are out of position. If he could get a stasis field, this would be amazing. Oh, but the zealots are already in. They're going to be doing a lot of damage. Taking up. Oh, EMP does go off, though. Oh, this could be disastrous for the Terran right here, especially if they lose all their tanks right here. It looks like they're going to be pushing in here. It looks like they're going to have to push back, though, because there's like at least 6 more tanks in the back, and that's going to be hard for them to deal with. That's what you have to do with Protoss. When the Terran's moving out, you need to get your zealots in front, do the damage, and then the tanks in the back will shell the damage out. And I say that too quickly, but you have to be careful with your zealots not to lose them all to a spider minefield. That's key. Also, there's a lot to do when you're Protoss. Tip number 1 versus Terran: be careful with your zealots. Zealot placement is kind of the key thing in your army. Dragoons do soak up a lot of damage in the back, do a lot of DPS to the tanks and bigger mech units in general. Get your zealots up in front. Make sure you're careful. The Dragoons are there as for more supporting units to make sure that you don't run into spider mines. Now remember, they're doing 125 damage per hit. So 2 of them will actually decimate a zealot, no matter even if they have armor. It looks like he's going to be engaging up here, though. There aren't spider mines are being laid down, and that is a lot of vultures there. And that's the reason why he's going such a heavy vulture count. Maybe not because they do an insane amount of DPS. It's just because when you run into a spider mine this big, it's pretty catastrophic damage. Terran will also be expanding down here as well over here. He did lift off that expand. So he will actually be outbasing the Protoss here, which he doesn't want to have happen. Either A, he needs to do a drop. B, I don't know if the Terran's left uncontested for these bases, though, it's really gonna be hard. But Protoss is also gonna be expanding out here, and I believe I'm just trying to double check. Is there a base down here? There is, and right when the Marines are actually going to it. So there's a lot of bases being taken all over the map right here, except for the center one. Another big engagement happening over here. A lot of spider mines are going up on being killed. Oh, but he loses four XB cells, and it looks like he's gonna be trying to charge in here, doing some damage to the south part of this base, but it looks like he's going to want to back out right now. EMP will go off, but misses the Arbiters, which is 100 energy down on that science vessel, which means he cannot get another EMP off. EMP tends to be really hard to hit off, so keep in mind that. EMPs are pretty good, very, very good against Protoss, but if you don't hit right, they're not. Science vessels are pretty much useless. Excuse me, I'm just talking so fast, I'm getting the hiccups. Now this is going to be hard for him to deal with. Might be a base trade scenario where he's just going to try to go deny these expansions, which he needs to get done. His natural is important, but it's not the only mining base he has right now. So, keep in mind, he's also getting another Arbiter. He does have a whole bunch of Zealots in here that he could potentially do some damage with, but that is a lot of tanks. This would be the time to push out, but he probably doesn't know the tanks are on siege right now. Looks like he's had higher the damage he's done. He doesn't know about this base, probably. I'm surprised by that he didn't go check a little bit further, especially since he's taken this base as well. Does stasis field, but not the best stasis field I've seen. But regardless, hey, he did it anyway. So, this slow push that's happening in the natural, it looks like he might want to push back here. It's 187 supply to 190, so Terran's actually ahead slightly in the supply count. Pretty much dead even, though. I'm just trying to find where the main Protoss ball is. Here's a pretty good chunk of it, but I'm just wondering. Oh, back over here, Zealots are charging in here, and it looks like they're going to be able to do some damage here, especially with the Science Vessel not doing around here to do any kind of damage. And yeah, especially that stasis field really helped out. It looks like he's going to be engaging, probably going to be killing off some of these folks. Wants to be careful of these 4 siege tanks will be doing at least like 200 damage and the Zealots are going to be in there, going to be doing plenty of damage, and I'm going to be cleaning those up pretty well. So it's going to be 2-1 upgrades, getting double upgrades, +1, +2 armor, and +3 attack. Ooh, doesn't want to be careful. Oh, he loses 2 of the Zealots. He just wants to be careful, but there's spider mines everywhere. Sometimes you can't be perfect. 2-2 for the mech. Upgrade, still getting double, at least +3 armor for it, which is interesting. And even Terran's going to be taking this risky expand up here, too. Really wanting that base, I guess. I'm surprised he didn't take this base over here. But hey, if he wants it, and it actually looks like he's doing being pretty doing some good damage here. It's 165 to 180. Protoss is ahead right now. And a lot of that composition is just mainly vultures at this point in time. So, and he's not mining. So Terran's not in the greatest situation that he could be. Has a lot more SCVs than he has bases. Either he probably wants to fodder some of those, or at least transfer them, because he's not utilizing them right now. Which is just it's just using up supply right now. 173 to 195. So Protoss is pretty much maxed at this point. Even getting another Arbiter on queue, even getting recall as well. So might be seeing a massive recall into the main base, which could do a lot of damage and could call for catastrophe. Excuse me, for the Terran player, or By.Hydra, excuse me. So this game has been pretty epic so far, I have to say. Pretty back and forth. Terran kind of swinging back and left. He does have very good map vision. Protoss has a pretty good map vision as well. He knows kind of the top half. But Terran, I mean, wow, the amount of spider mines he has is ridiculous. Oh, but he's losing his kind of like east flank of his army here. EMP does go off on 2 of them, and that's really going to be bad. Now he doesn't have stasis field, but he was actually able to get 2 of them off anyway. Oh, that's really going to be good for the Protoss player. I didn't even see those stasis fields. That is a baller stasis field right there. But he even has to push back even after those stasis fields. And this is why Terran's really hard to deal with. And I'm sorry, he already has +3. I guess he had another armory somewhere. I don't know where. And I'm still surprised he's. Oh no, there's the third. What is it called? Machine shop. And Terran's actually is still mining off this base, doing pretty much started finally saturating this base. Has he sent over most of these SCVs? He has. Could be probably using them to saturate another base. Now 173 to 185, so it's been fluctuating, but kind of been trading armies here. But it looks like it's gonna be hard. Terran's out upgrading right now. The Protoss. This might be the time where he wants to get shield upgrades. Maybe. I don't know if it's really worth it, but it's just that much more defense, I guess. But it's just I don't know. I don't get the whole shield upgrades for Protoss because some people I always got them, but I guess just a lot of people just don't ultimately get them because of EMP and stuff, I guess. But he does have enough for an EMP in the science vessel, so it looks like he's going to be trying to engage here. Will he EMP though? It will go off on 1, so he won't get another stasis field off. But I believe he has enough for a stasis field, which he did get about 2 tanks, which is not another 150 damage per shock cannon. We'll be able to defend this base, this quarter, top left quarter of this base. He will be re-expanding down here, though. Did he see that? I thought I saw a... Yep, there's the observer. He should probably be seeing that as well. If his map awareness is good, and it's just going to be camping over here to kill off these siege tanks. Woo! A lot of stuff going on in this game. I believe... I'm not sure if S.Love actually knows of this base over here. It's just like right next to his base. He's just not really caring for it, I guess. Gateway count probably could be slightly higher. He's at 4, 8, 11 gateways. I think he could probably be off a lot more. Just to get that zealot count. But he's remaxed anyway, so it doesn't even matter. Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot of spider mines there. Oh. And that's really gonna do a lot of damage here. But he'll still be able to get in here. Oh, these tanks are left completely defenseless. Will he be able to move all the vultures in time? I don't think he will. I think these tanks will fall. And I mean, when you get this massive amount of vultures out, it's kind of hard to micro them around. But even with the massive amount of spider mines, it looks like he's gonna be able to clean up that zealot, the main zealot composition of that army. Will he be able to go and deny this expand? He will. Will he be able to get all the SCV kills though? It doesn't look like it. And he wants to be careful not to run the Spider-Man when he's running out of there. He did lose the Sentinels, and it looks like he's going to be engaging here. I don't know if that's the best strategic point for the Terran right now, as he's just completely decimating his whole army right now. 182 supply to 190. He's already remaxed. This is ridiculous. Wow, this has been an ongoing war. And this is what happens when you can macro like a champ. Your army's never dead. If you lose it, you're remaxed within a couple seconds. even getting double arbiters, which he probably could use on the second starport, but who cares? Not going to get too picky about that. It looks like he's going to be doing a counterattack over here. There will be 2 siege tanks over here. Will he be able to break it, though? It looks like he'll... Oh, will he be able to kill off these tanks? It looks like he will. And this base might have to take some damage. May have to recall some reinforcements over. Will he come over down to the bottom left? He looks like he will. Still got pretty much half the minerals off this base, but still, if he could stop the mining on there, that will really kind of put the Terran back. Also, I kind of forgot to mention, rebuilding a Terran army is really expensive to rebuild a whole mech army. It's a very, very expensive army. Same thing with the Protoss army. So it's just 70,000 minerals. EMP does go off, but no real reason, just to soften up the army, I guess. Just going to be doing some more damage. I don't think these supply depots are even going to supply back them. No, it will not. 156 to 187, so getting a lot of SCV kills, which is really going to help free up supply for the Terran. I'm not sure if it's a positive or good thing, because he's re-maxing. He's probably re-maxing in about a couple seconds, depending on how fast he can get these vultures out. I'm just looking at how fast the supply is going out, and he just kind of losing in... that is just a lot of, wow, that's just a lot of spider mines. That's just a lot of vultures. This is like mass vulture, man. I believe that's even enough to like one-shot a Dragoon at this point. Now, will he, I wonder if he just even stasis field. He'll stasis field the tanks. It's still even moving when it's even stasis fielded. And it looks like he'll be able to clean this up with the Dragoons. Are pretty good against vultures, especially when they're out of spider mines. EMP does go off, though, softening up that whatever energy that had left. I'm not sure how much it did have, but it will be cleaned up. And I think Protoss is in a very good position here. 112 to 157. Protoss has been able to keep his expands, even taking a new expand down here. And the only really mining base left is this one, and he's still not even fully operating it because he's probably By.Hydra so preoccupied with the trying to keep his army alive and trying to stay in this game. Still 119. He doesn't. I'm surprised he's still not rebuilding. But 129, 130. So he's still rebuilding right here. But wow, he's maxing very fast. But he looks like he's just losing a lot of stuff right now. And actually, he wasn't able to kill off all these tanks here. Oddly enough, 149 supply. So S.Love is actually somewhat behind right here. He's queuing up 1,000 zealots and dragoons and that. He's not even utilizing all of his gateways either, which may cost it. I mean, not maybe. It probably won't cost him the game at this point, but might do some damage. Vultures are going to be in here though, and might do some damage. He does have a pretty big army back in his main base though. Probes will be transferring, but they will not run into any catastrophic spider mines or anything. That's a lot of arbiters. He has 4. I think he has 6 arbiters now. 5 arbiters. Looks like it's just going to stasis field to prolong the attack. And I think he's just going to wait till he has a bigger army to push out, possibly. But another engagement is happening over here. Will an EMP connect? It will not. I guess he's just wanting to really stasis. He even stasis field a spider mine. I wonder how that's actually going to happen when it's not actually going down. Getting another gateway. So I don't really know what happened. Their main armies have been pretty much gone. 119 supply again. And Spider Mine does connect though, but it destroys like 3 or 4 tanks in the process. Did lose like quite a few Dragoons here with that engagement, and you know, Terran's right at the front door of the Protoss. I was thinking Protoss was in a really good position here, but if he's gonna be able to, like, you know, do a lot of damage here, I don't really know what he can do. As he's just gonna have to like take some hits here. Vultures are very good against Zealot. They kind of counter each other when I think about it. But at least he's doing the DPS with the Arbiters. And, but keep in mind, they only do 10 damage plus 3. No, they're only doing 6 damage per shot. So he's going to have to kind of rebuild all of his gateways, which he's done. I haven't even seen all these. Why is he taking that one? His own little Dragoon there. It's like, oh, there's a DT in here, going to stop any kind of extra mining happening. So he's out of minerals. S.Love is still in this game, though. And there's the GG By.Hydra, and that's what happens when you off-race, apparently. You lose. No, I don't enjoy the conclusion. So, even though this isn't D-Rank, and F-Talk came from D-Rank, D-Rank Team League, I just thought I'd give By.Hydra just a tip. And I'm just trying to think of like an honest tip I can give the guy because he played so well. I think what hurt him was maybe just the super high count of vultures he just had. I think that might have been might have been oversaturated with SCVs, which didn't allow him to get enough amount of tanks he needed. Otherwise, I think he played very, very strong. I think it just kind of comes down to the decision making, and I can't like go perfect them on that. I think I could be like, oh, in this situation, he could have done this, that, and the other thing. I'm not gonna go talk about that because that's how they want to play, and that's what makes it an entertaining game. Because if I always said the standard thing, we'd be seeing the same game every single time. So, nevertheless, I really like this game. I really like Replay of the Week number 3 and this one, 4 of this week. It's really, really intense games right now. I think all of them have been actually pretty good. A lot of them are kind of like pro-ish matches, which tend to make for more interesting games. I'm not saying D-rank games aren't as interesting, but there's just not as much happening around. And I can just tell you, I haven't started to get like a sore throat from talking for so long. But I mean, again, that was a half-an-hour game, and I've been actively talking throughout the entire thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this cast. ICC Cup TV rules. We have 2 new casters, which I'm desperately waiting for them to get up the content because I really want to get that content out to you guys, so you don't have to hear me talk all the time. And hopefully you can give them support and love like you do to me, even though I only have like 5 comments like total in the videos. But I love casting Brood War, and great stuff nevertheless. So have a great day, guys. And this was By.Hydra versus S.Love, and S.Love came up on top, even in a TVP, which Terran, in my cases, I actually had a lot more, I actually won a lot more games. But regardless, we'll be back for game number 5 very shortly. Have a nice day, guys. Peace.